Yeah, overall, definitely feel like we got a lot of work done. Um, as I mentioned, I think just coming back maybe this week and delaying it, uh, feels much like the supposed off season. It's felt like a lot. So I think the players, coaches, once you go through 15 practices in the spring for as long as we have, and we had a long winter as well. By the way, we started early with spring after the bowl game. They had a solid 8 weeks of training, and then we had a long spring. So I think everybody's ready. The players need a little. They need a little time. Coaches got to get organized and ready to go. We got in-depth player evaluations and coaches doing evals and already on that, and we'll meet with everybody next week, and then they got to get organized and get ready to get on the road recruiting. So there's still a lot to do, but I think as far as wrapping up spring, I think it's time. We're about ready to wrap that up.
How much you have to play evals?
Pardon me?
You have to play evals, is that when you all getting the package for the summer or whatever?
No, the summer, we work that in as we go. As far as Coach Ed and Coach Hill and all those guys in the weight room, they'll keep the boys on their toes as far as that goes. As far as the guys don't know exactly what to expect and when, but um, I guess as far as what to work on,
Yeah.
what areas of weakness, areas of strength, where we need to improve, what we expect of them to work when we're not allowed out there, and things of that nature we do.
How much do you think you've been able to impart to guys this spring, especially some of those new guys, just getting them used to being around and learning the new offense?
It's these young guys that come in, and whether it be the transfers, they've been around, so they have an idea of what to expect. But with the high school guys that are early enrollees, really, um, you know, I guess each and every year they kind of surprise me with how well they handle things and really adapt very well. These young men are more mature than we used to be, and they really do a good job and have been some great additions.
Can you tell a big difference between this year and even last year? Some of those guys coming in from during the COVID, still kind of going through some of that.
Yeah, I think so. With the fact that we were able to have a full off season and get to spend some time with them and have regular meetings and things like that through the winter, and also I think talent each and every year we're continuing to improve as far as the guys that are maybe a bit more game ready, and certainly you saw that this year with some guys.
What was it like for you just getting some new coaching staff in there, assistants in there, building rapport with them? Obviously, you had some continuity, but as that turnover happens, got to give them a rapport with them as well.
Yeah, getting on the same page, getting a rapport, that's relatively easy. We have a good environment here, and the opportunity to spend time with guys, getting to know them. We're in here quite a bit, as you know, and so that part of it really isn't an issue. I think guys really like working here. They enjoy being around here. The transition has been relatively smooth, and appreciate that. And now, I think we put a lot of work into this spring and getting better as a football team, and now we really got to wrap some of this up, as I mentioned, with the in-depth evaluations that we do, and we put a lot of time into that. But then we really got to get honed in on the recruiting.
It's something that's beyond your control, but were you able to get everything you wanted done with the weather just being so bad almost every day?
No, but I can't control that. So
Is there
I'm not allowed to say the word sucks, is it? I mean, this weather sucks.
is there anything does that show up the most in
Yeah.
any area that you want?
I mean, it is what it is. We make the most of it. We've learned to practice inside as best we can, and we get as much out of practice as we can, and I have no control over that out there.
What do you anticipate in terms of there's a short window here where guys can still transfer to say they want to enter the portal or whatever. Are you expecting a few guys or any number
Yeah.
of guys?
Yeah, we do. We got to have some discussions with some guys here in the next week, and it benefits everybody to be in there by May 1st.
Just talking about those mid-year guys, maybe impressing you more than you thought, how they were ready. Brad has talked at that those corners, particularly Elijah and Andre, how it's not really fair to expect them at this point to be ready. Do you think what you like about those guys? Just in their
Yeah, yeah, they both have some range, that we're looking for, some size. Both need a lot of work, and got to continue to work on, a lot of things. But that's one position where it'll be hard for those guys to be able to walk in and compete even next year at the level that we need to play. Just the speed with which they're going to see in that stadium and others next year. They got a lot of work to do.
Guys in front of them, Carrington and Andrew,
Mm-hmm.
just pleased with their progress this spring. Feel like those two guys really help you next year. Obviously, Carrington came.
Yeah, obviously Carrington, I feel like he's taken, as you would expect, he's taken his game to another level and playing at a higher level. With Andrew, I was really pleased with him, the way he competed. He's one of those guys that I like his competitive nature, very coachable, and really stepped up and did some good things.
Obviously, you had holes to fill on defense. How do you feel like the defense progressed?
Overall, I feel good. I mean, I know Brad and the coaches will put them in a position to be successful, but we certainly got to look at some areas, in certain situations last year where we didn't play up to the level that we need to. For us to continue to grow and take another step as an organization, there are things we need to do better, and part of that is personnel, and part of that is things that we need to help them or try to put them in a position to be more successful. So, we need to continue to work on that.
What can you see some of this stuff? I mean, it's sort of outside the school, the NIL opportunities, some of the money that kind of comes. What are you in position to do in terms of just encouraging that?
That's a great question, because I was about to answer you. What am I, allowed to do is not much. You know what I mean? So, accept, encourage, like you said, because I think, early on there was a lot of questions. Heck, I had questions. I still do. I've asked to meet with compliance and Mitch and let's get on the same page and let's do what we can. Because what you're seeing is some doing more than others. I mean, that's obvious. And I think if you asked most coaches, and I've started to see some SEC coaches and others, discussing all of our concerns on our players, guys that are here. We all are happy that they're able to profit from their name, image, and likeness. They do a lot for us. And with that, they should be able to earn some money. I think we all are a bit concerned about let's just put a collective together with $10 million and buy recruits. I mean, let's buy 25 free agents a year. And that, again, is that really what we got into this for? Or did we get into it to support the Chris Rodriguez's and others and guys that have done so much for us and work really hard, you know what I mean? Or is it, let's just get a collective, let's get 15 wealthy boosters together, put it in a collective, which is legal. I want to make that clear to everybody that wants to put it in a collective. That is totally legal. You're just essentially putting that money in for futures. Much different than people say, hey, I'm going to advertise for the Masters next year or the Super Bowl next year. You don't know who's going to be in it, but you're allowed to put that in there. So that is totally legal. And whether I want that or not, or whether our administration wants it, that's not our choice. It's legal. And I think you see some universities and some SEC schools taking full advantage of that. And then you see others that are not, because there's only so much money to go around, and where are you going to put that money and all those things. So it's changing the landscape, and anytime you make drastic changes like that, there are certainly some unintended consequences that come with these decisions. Again, I think it's a positive, but I'd like to see some federal help or some federal legislation on the total pay for play that's going on right now. That was supposed to be illegal, but it's certainly not, being enforced, and it's 100% happening out there. So, what are we going to do about it? Another thing is I'm always going to fight the fight. Whatever it is, we're going to overcome it, we're going to adapt, and we're going to be successful at it. This piece, we need a lot of people to get on the same page with this.
Can I
Yeah.
ask an off-the-wall question? Okay, with the draft coming up, I read the other day that 2001 Miami team had 17 players who ended up as being first-round draft picks. What do you remember from that team and those guys? I mean, that's unbelievable.
It really is. It's a remarkable statistic. I've heard different numbers, because then you could look at the national championship game with us in Ohio State, and there was so many first rounds combined on the field that day. And, but I remember just practice. I remember a great environment. As I tell our players as we're looking at our evaluations and doing things in our IDPs, our individual development plans, like how specifically are you going to get better this off season? Those guys, maybe we weren't that detailed in what we were doing, but they were all driven. We were very united. That team was very united in being great. They were very motivated to be great. And not only first-round picks, but you look at how many perennial All-Pros were on there. It's really remarkable how many special players were on that team, and that's what I remember. I mean, that's obviously one of the most proud moments, or a very fond memory as a coach, because you're on a team that is so talented. But not only so talented, they were fun to be around because they were very driven.
Mark, speaking of recruiting, adapting, how much of bringing in Danielle in that position was part of just building that kind of shift there? And what are the early impressions?
Yeah, continuing to grow, continuing to put people in position to help in all areas. I mean, that was a discussion that Mitch and I had early this off season, and again, I had full support, of things areas where we need to grow, areas where we need to expand. I mean, if you look at things, again, I'm not saying I need an army of people like some people do, but you certainly need tools, you certainly need manpower, woman power in this case, in people to help you in your organization. And again, I've received that support, and we need to continue to push. We need to continue to grow. All of us are not pleased, are not satisfied with where we're at right now. We want to continue to grow, continue to get better, and continue to compete at a higher level. That comes with a great investment.
Everybody good?
Thank you.
Thank you.